We're going to have Mike Mazzalongo will have a presentation. Michael Coghill will have part of it. Steve Harrison will have part of it. And then I'll try to summarize and finish it up. You know, it seemed like just a few short weeks ago that I stood up here and we talked about our challenge for 2014. And lo and behold, that's been a year ago, and so time has really gone fast for me. And so I'd like to talk to you today about I'm not getting anything on this display up here. There we go. Okay, so I'd like to talk about some of the accomplishments that we've had for the last year. And we may send a rocket ship to the moon just any time, so if you'll hold on, please. I'd like to talk a little bit about some of the good things that's happened in this 2014. One thing was we hired a new youth and family minister to work with us, and I thought that's really a good deal. We selected him, but did you know that he selected us as well? And so what he's been doing has really been a great work, and so I think we're greatly blessed, and so I look forward to a lot more good things to go with Mike Coghill and Jessica, his wife, working with us. Another thing that we did during this past year was we started full-time support for a missionary in Meru, Kenya, Jeffrey Karima. And so we had helped him get through his preaching school and his preaching training, but when he got through with that, he didn't really have anybody to support him. And we thought that he was a guy with great talent and he has great recommendations. And so we have now taken up his full support. And so it's a good work, and from the reports that I've been seeing from him, he's doing a great work and doing very good at that. So it's a good investment in our effort to make that work. Another thing that's happened is we've hired Hal Gatewood. He's actually works for Bible Talk. He doesn't really work for the church per se, but he does do a lot of things to help the church. And so Hal Gatewood is doing a lot of good work, and he works primarily with Bible Talk, but he's helping produce something that's done every week, I guess at least two, maybe three times a week. It's recorded and it's put out through the Bible Talk program. So he is doing a good work, and so we're very grateful for that. Another thing that happened in 2014 was we had the International Bible Correspondence Program that Brother Robert George had, and then Robert George passed away, and so Steve Harrison has taken that up, and it's now a program. He works through the World Bible School, and there's 10 or 12 people help each week to send out courses and receive courses, and they grade them and pass them back. And so it's a good program. Well, we're really trying to spread the gospel to people around the world as best we can. And I think you'll see that that's really an important task. Another thing that we did in 2014 was, and you probably have observed it already, there's handicap ramps outside the building, and there's a ramp inside the building. And I might tell you that one of the families in this church completely paid for that effort. So it was a good thing, and it's a good service. And if you don't need the ramp, you just probably disregard it. But if you do, it's really a sweet thing to have. And so that family that did that, thank you, and the church has benefited because of it. Another thing we did is 75-year celebration came along, I guess last August. And that celebration, we had lots to good eat, a lot of fellowship, and had a lot of entertainment. But that was not really the thing. The real thing was we have survived 75 years without dividing or splitting or being angry and fighting. We can't get along. We've not done that. It's amazing to me that the Lord has called a group of people here at this time and place in history. We all get along pretty well, and we have for years. And I hope and pray that the Lord will bless us, and this 75 years is just the beginning. Another thing that we have done in 2014, and our contribution, this information that I've got was actually put together at least a month ago, but we have achieved 98% of our goal in our contribution. Remember the challenge was given? And if you look at the bulletin each week, you'll see that we're doing really well on that. In fact, as of this past Sunday, we were only $2,900 below what's been projected for the whole year. So it would seem to me if we could go ahead and make our budget this Sunday, next Sunday, and the next Sunday, and then if we had additional, $2,900, we would achieve 100% of what our goal was for 2014. That's never happened before in my understanding and recollection of our activities. Wouldn't that be something if we could do that? I think that'd be really great. Another thing I think is getting pretty good news for us is our building. You know, we had the building financed when we modernized the building, and we paid on that for quite some time. Then we decided we needed to finish up the parking lot. It never was really finished. We finished that up and built the coach house out there and bought the coach, and we refinanced our note. And so we're just 3 years away from completely having that paid off. That's really good. We pay about $4,000 a month, but in 2017, we'll be completely paid off. Now, I don't know about you. When I get to retirement age, I'd like to have all my bills paid for. However, well, let's see, I guess I'm going to retire one of these days. However, with the church, do we ever retire? No, we don't ever retire. In fact, one of the things we were thinking about looking at is what could we do in terms of studying and planning to have an increased fellowship area. You get the picture of what I'm talking about, don't you? You see, so that's something we're trying to look at in the future. I personally have thought, well, maybe the thing to do is build a new auditorium facility out there and convert this to a fellowship area, but we're talking about a lot of money, you see. And so I don't know what the Lord has planned for us. I don't know how we'll study that, but we will. And so, but we're 3 years away from having this note completely paid for. I think that's terrific. So how would I summarize that? Well, I would say your continued dedication to the Lord, your service, your financial support makes it completely possible. And I look at the church and I say, this is a good bunch of people. We're really trying. That's fantastic. And we're doing well. I think we're doing pretty good as best I can see it, and the Lord certainly would be the judge in that matter. But I think, let me kind of step aside just a minute, and I'd like to try to summarize what I think life's perspective really is. It's more than just paying off the mortgage. It's more than handicap ramps. But we need to, I think, at least I kind of personally had a struggle with this for a few years. And it says, I'm reading Deuteronomy 10:14, "Behold, to the Lord your God belongs the heaven and the highest heavens and the earth and all that is in it." Who did that belong to? They belong to the Lord. I got my deed on my house at home, and it says it belongs to Harold and Jane. And I know that, but ultimately the reality is it belongs to God. Psalms 50 says, "For every beast of the forest is mine, the cattle on 1,000 hills. I know every bird of the mountains, and everything that moves is mine. For the world is mine and all that it contains." You see, I get the picture. That's a little difficult, for me, because I got mine. I go to work and I earn mine, and it's mine, you see. That's the reality is it's God, and He's just given me an opportunity to make use of it. And so when I see life from that perspective, it's useful to me in a great way. Colossians 1 says, "For by Him all things were created." We're talking about Jesus Christ. "Both in the heavens and on the earth, the visible and the invisible, whether thrones or dominions or rulers or authorities, all things have been created by Him and for Him." So everything that we're a part of, we know about, it's by Him and it's for Him. And so when I see it that way, that really brings greatness to my thinking process. And He is before all things, and in Him all things hold together. The day-to-day activity, the continuing function of this universe, by Jesus Christ, as I see the Scriptures to tell me about that. Titus 2 says, talking about Jesus Christ, "For He gave Himself for us, that He might redeem us from every lawless deed and purify for Himself a people for His own possession, zealous for good deeds." We're His possession, you see. So therefore, that gives me a real different perspective on what it is I'm trying to do by day by day by day. And that helps me a lot to think about what my opportunities are. So I would suggest to you, I hope you'll agree with me, that consequently all of life is a stewardship. It's not mine and yours and ours, it's God's, and He's given us a stewardship responsibility for His possessions. We're taking care of what's God's. Our giving is but a discharge of the stewardship in relation to the money that He has committed into our hands while we live. We have pretty good salaries. Most of us do pretty well. How come you do pretty well? got job opportunity. You got the abilities. You got a brain that you can work. You got hands that'll work. How come you got those? God gave them to us, you see. So when I put it in the right perspective, I believe it's really helpful to me to see that everything God has set aside for us to do. Now, when I begin to look at, well, what has God set aside for us to do in this stewardship? You see, I begin to build on what is it that or the pillars of what He really wants of us. And sometimes, I think we kind of get thinking about a lot of different things, but there are some real basic pillars, I think, that's important for us. Jesus said in Matthew 28, all authority has been given to me in heaven and earth. Go, therefore, and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit, teaching them to observe all that I've commanded you, and I'll be with you always, even to the end of the earth. Wouldn't you think? I would think that's what His instructions He gave to the apostles as He was about to ascend back to heaven. That's their task. And then that task has been given to us, passed on to us, to pass on, you see? So that's got to be a real fundamental thing. Going, making disciples, baptizing, teaching. We really need to practice that, and that's got to be a real strong pillar of the church, I think. Then he said in Acts 2:42, we look at that and we say, well, the church was established, and what all were they practicing? How did they function? How did they get started? And so the answer is they were continually devoting themselves to the apostles' teaching, to fellowship, breaking of bread, and to prayer. Those have got to be real fundamental pillars of what the church ought to be practicing, you see. We need to be teaching and learning and teaching. And the apostles' doctrine, of course, that's the New Testament scriptures for us, but the whole Bible is certainly important to us. Continue in teaching and fellowship, working together and working with the Lord in terms of our love and care for each other. Breaking bread, the Lord's Supper, we do that just as best we can as the scriptures teach. And so therefore we do it that way, and we will continue to do it that way. And prayer, continue in prayer. That's really important, I think. Those are really fundamentals of the church. And Ephesians 4 gives us a little bit more insight into what the church ought to be really working towards. And he said he gave some as apostles and some as prophets. Now, these were inspired gifts for these individuals that for a given period of time when the church was first functioning, beginning to get going. Gave these guys individual. These people had special tasks, but they have died, and nobody replaced them. But then we have evangelists or preachers. Then we have pastors or elders or shepherds or presbyters or bishops, if you would, shepherds, and teachers. Now, every one of these has a real important purpose, you see. And it says, for the equipping of the saints. You can't equip the saints if they're not interested in learning. You see, so we're wanting to learn, and we want to learn. We want what the scriptures teach. We want to be able to apply it. So it becomes an important pillar, I think, of basics of what the Christian faith ought to be. So equipping the saints for what? The work of service, for the building up of the body of Christ. And he goes on to say, but speaking the truth in love, we are to grow up in all aspects in Him who is the head, even Christ, from whom the whole body, being fitted together, held together by that which every joint supplies according to its proper working of each individual part, causes the growth of the body and the building of itself in love. We're like the human body. Our human body does really well when everything works. Gets something out of whack or out of disorder, and the whole thing suffers. Church is like that too. We all work together. Everybody has a part they can apply. Everyone has a talent. Everyone has a gift. And so it's up to us to try to develop those and try to use them. We want to build up the church, and we want to grow to maturity for each one of us. And then another pillar I think that's really important to us, it says, though then while we have opportunity, and the ability I think would certainly be part of that, let us do good to all men, especially to those that are the household of faith. Now, I know it from time to time, and I'm sure you know it too, that there are families within this church family that need help. So we want to be there to help. We don't intend to be overly gracious about that, I guess, but we want to help people if they need for food or shelter, or heat for the house or electricity we'd try to help, and we do that. And so that's a pretty big part of our budget, by the way. And so I believe if we look at the future, it's really important to have a plan. If we don't have a plan, we don't really know where we're going, and when we get there, or when we're partway down the path, we don't really know we ever got there. So a plan is really important. So that's kind of what I'm trying to talk about today, and I hope you'll be patient with me. We're going to switch off here just a minute. Mike Mazzalongo is presently in Ponca City talking about Bible Talk program and telling the congregation there about it. But we've got a video that he's put together, so he's going to help in his display of information to help you better understand what our challenge is in 2015. And when he's through, Mike Coghill is going to do his talk. And after that, Steve Harrison's going to have a part in this presentation this morning. And then when they get through, if there's any time left at all, I'll come back up here and I'll have a few things to say to kind of wrap it up, okay? Okay, so Mike, I believe we're ready for you, and there may be a little time spent between transition from the PowerPoint to the video. So if you'll just be patient, please, and I'm not sure how that's going to work between each one of these transitions, but it'll work. We'll get there.
All right, well, Harold, thank you very much for a great presentation so far. I want to talk a little bit about my work. My work here encompasses 4 areas of ministry in the church. Adult Bible education, involvement, evangelism, which includes BibleTalk.tv and to coordinate the Haiti and the Kenya mission work, as well as pulpit ministry. So I want to briefly review some of the work done this year and some of the plans for 2015. So let's begin with education. In 2014, we've offered a total of 25 different adult Bible classes on a variety of Bible books and topics. Everything from a 50-lesson study of the book of Genesis to special studies for women and topics including the sacrificial system in the Old Testament and a discussion class on the popular book Muscle and Shovel. The schedule for the new classes that begin on Sunday, January the 4th are in your mailboxes today, so I encourage you to check out those new class schedule and make an effort to attend Bible class on Sunday morning as well as Wednesday night in 2015. Now, I want to talk a little bit about involvement. The involvement ministry's goal is to help people integrate into the body life of the church by getting these folks involved in the service or fellowship areas of ministry in some way. Now, from recruiting teachers and greeters to organizing events like the blood drive, the involvement ministry tries to encourage people not only to get involved, but to get involved so that they can serve one another in the church and hopefully serve others in the community in the name of Christ. Now we have a lot of people who work to organize various events that require a lot of help, things like VBS, for example, or the all-church picnic. A lot of people have to work to put those things together. Men's breakfast, youth events. In 2015, we plan to have several new events in addition to our regular fellowship and service projects. For example, we want to do a new men's power breakfast and service day, not every month, but every quarter. So we're really going to try to pump up that men's power breakfast and have some interesting activities involved with that. Also, February will be the month of prayer, all kinds of spiritual activities, if you wish, spiritual focus on the month of February. We'll be printing out material to hand out, as well as having information online about February 2015 will be Choctaw Church's month of prayer. And we're hoping to have in the spring a marriage enrichment seminar with Richard and Jenna Lynn May from the What God Has Joined ministry. A great seminar. They have all kinds of activities, role play, games, lectures, everything done in order to get people not only to hear information about marriage enrichment, but also to become involved in various activities that will teach us some important lessons, help to build good, strong Christian marriages. We also have grouped many ongoing service projects under the With Love from Choctaw banner. Now in the past, With Love from Choctaw has simply been the kind of the motto, if you wish, or the idea behind sending out the military packages to service people who are serving abroad. But we've decided that With Love from Choctaw really is the spirit of service that we want to promote here in Choctaw. So we're going to put all of our serving ministries, all of our benevolent ministries under the banner of With Love from Choctaw. And these include the Luther Service Center assistance that we give, the military packages, of course, the the Brown Bag Christmas project that we're in the middle of at the moment, the sewing ladies who sew for Habitat for Humanity and dresses for Haiti and so on and so forth, the annual football dinner, the Fix a Room project, school supply ministry, Have This, Need This listings, funeral meals, card ministry, shut-in ministry, singles and widow support ministry, and of course the blood drives. And I might have even left out a couple because we tried to think of all the various ministries that go on in this congregation. So we're going to try to group these under the With Love from Choctaw banner and use that as a way of recruiting people and encouraging people to become involved and integrated into the service of the church. So all these good works, as I say, will fall under the With Love from Choctaw benevolence ministry, so we can better fund them and also get people to know about them and be involved in these and other good works of the church. One thing I might mention, I encourage you to look for a new bulletin board in the foyer that will be dedicated to information about With Love from Choctaw. All right, so another area of ministry where I am involved in, of course, is evangelism. I have two main responsibilities here. First of all, I coordinate the two foreign missionaries that we support. In other words, the mail that comes from them, requests, special needs, so on and so forth. I'm their point of contact here. Of course, Dayton Cassie is the elder responsible for that, so he and I kind of work with these brothers. The first one is Jean Elmera, and Jean Elmera works in Port-au-Prince, Haiti, and is the key man for much of the church planting, the preaching school work, the public and nursing school management. He's the man in the capital city of Haiti. And I'm happy to inform you that we provide about half of his support. So he is a very important key individual in the work in Haiti. He reports that since the recent earthquake and hurricane that devastated the island and destroyed the main church building in the capital city, they've had a lot of progress. For example, they've rebuilt their meeting place, they've launched a TV and radio program. He tells me they've graduated 30 people from their nursing school. They report 396 baptisms in 2014. They've planted 8 new congregations, and they've also enrolled 30 young men in their preacher training program. So a very busy work, a very fruitful work. We've been with Jean Elmera and the church in Haiti for many, many years. And if you want more information about his work, copies of his full report are on the table in the foyer, and you can get those as you leave. The other foreign missionary that we support is Jeffrey Karima, Jeffrey and his wife Mary. We helped Jeffrey graduate from the South Africa Bible College last year. And 2014 was his first year in full-time ministry in Kenya. Now, the Choctaw Church provides all of Jeffrey's support, so he is fully supported and overseen by this congregation. Now, he reports that he has taught several classes at the Meru School of Theology, which is near his home in the Meru province of Kenya. He also services about 7 or 8 congregations in an 80-mile radius from his home. He does the preaching and the teaching, the baptizing, the training up of leaders for these small churches. He reports that last year, or not last year, but this year in 2014, he has personally baptized 134 people. He's performed, as I say, he's also had over 1,000 children attending VBS classes that have been held in 4 counties, 20 local churches. So, we've had a big headache here, headache in organizing and rushing and making sure our VBS program is ready and on time. For this congregation, Jeffrey tells me that they've kind of organized VBS for 20 different congregations and it was a great success. The total number of children enrolled in those 20 was 1,000 kids. He also has planted 3 new congregations, so he's a very, very busy, very energetic missionary. Our hope for 2015 is that one or more of our elders and others from Choctaw will be able to travel to Africa and visit the work and encourage Jeffrey in his ministry. We also have copies of his full written report with pictures. We have copies of that out in the foyer on the table, so if you'd like to get those, feel free to pick those up after the service today. My other work in evangelism is to create content and raise financial support for the BibleTalk.tv internet ministry. I think most of you know that Bible Talk is a website that provides Bible teaching and preaching material for people who are on the internet. Hal Gatewood also works full-time as the web manager for this ministry. We want to give you, a lot of people haven't been to the site. We want to just show you how easy it is to navigate this site. So we have a very, very brief video to show you how to navigate, how to kind of get around our BibleTalk.tv website. Watch this and I'll be back in a second to wrap up. When a person goes to the BibleTalk.tv homepage, the first thing that appears is our stated purpose. BibleTalk.tv teaches you the Bible. The visitor is then asked a series of questions to help them find the type of Bible material suitable for their needs. For example, are you a new Christian or just starting your walk? This section has lessons, series, and information designed for those who are new Christians or those less familiar with Christianity in general. Many use this material for back to basics type Bible classes. Do you need teaching resources for Bible classes or small groups? This section contains series on various books of the Bible as well as special interest topics like marriage and family, church growth, the life of the church, and so on and so forth. Most series can be used in both adult or youth classes and usually contain 12 to 13 30-minute lessons per topic. The next question that appears is, don't have a preacher? Use Bible Talk sermons as a preaching resource for your church. Many smaller congregations write to tell us that they have no full-time preacher, so they conduct a service with songs, prayers, communion, offering, and when it is time for the preaching, they select one of the over 500 sermons in the Bible Talk archive to play on their TV monitor or screen in the auditorium. This is an important resource for many smaller as well as Mission Point churches. The last question on the home page says, scheduled to lead a devotional or small group? Use our Bible Talk Devos to get the conversation started. Bible Talk has 350 short devotional messages on all kinds of topics from a Christian perspective. These are anywhere from 2 to 5 minutes long. Bible Talk Devos are perfect for small groups or personal daily prayer and devotional times. Okay, let me show you some of the features and other resources available on the BibleTalk.tv website. Let's look at Daniel and Revelation for beginners. If you look at our series section, you will note that each series has a general description of the theme as well as a summary and length of time for each individual lesson in that series. To the right of the screen, you'll see a table that shows all of the resources available for that series. For example, lesson notes for students, complete word-per-word transcripts of each lesson if you prefer teaching the lesson yourself. You can also obtain an audio podcast of each lesson for your listening devices. E-books of the entire series are available on iTunes, Google Play, or Kindle. And of course, the entire video series can be downloaded. All of these items are free to download and copy. Visitors can also order the series on DVD, CD, or obtain a paperback book of the series by ordering these from the Bible Talk store. You can also download the Bible Talk app for your smartphone, Roku, Kindle, or iPad. The Bible Talk app for any device is always free. Another popular feature of the Bible Talk site is the search box. If someone types a word in the search box, Bible Talk will provide them with lessons on that subject, but will also provide devos, series, and sermons that deal with related topics. One last thing about the site. If you scroll to the bottom of the screen, you will see that visitors are linked to the different congregations that support the Bible Talk ministry should they want more information about the Church of Christ. These are some of the resources and methods that the Bible Talk ministry pursues its twin goals of providing free Bible teaching materials to visitors so they can grow in their faith and have the resources to share their faith with others. All right, so Bible Talk continues to draw thousands of people every month who watch and download and share thousands of our videos and books and devotional messages. Now the Choctaw congregation provides about 20% of the financing to pay for Hal's salary and the expenses to run the website and so on and so forth. And I raise the balance of money from individual members here in Choctaw. We know a lot of individual people support this work here in Choctaw, but there are other individuals from other congregations as well as other congregations who support this work. And we always encourage folks to remember us in supporting BibleTalk.tv. In 2015, Hal will be traveling with our display to conventions and seminars and lectureships all over the United States to promote our website and to network with other congregations and other individuals to support us and to use our materials. Now in 2015, we produced and distributed more French Bible Talk materials, something that we hadn't done before. Lise has translated one of our basic books, Christianity for Beginners. She's translated that into French, and we've produced that book and also have a DVD, and those are being used in Haiti, also being used in Europe. So Bible Talk is branching out not only into English evangelism, but French evangelism as well. Of course, we're grateful to our elders who enthusiastically support our work, as well as the many individuals who help us financially as well. I want you to know that you are investing in the future of evangelism, because this is how evangelism is going to be done, the priority way that evangelism will be done in the future. And I would also encourage you to kind of check out the display rack located near the door of the Bible Talk studio on the south side of the building. All the books there and the CDs and the DVDs are free for our members. And so we encourage you to take those. Now we change the material each week, so check it out every single Sunday, browse the rack, see what's new. And when you do take a book or a DVD, CD, that's great, use it, please. Don't put it back in the rack. It's free, it's given to you. And don't just put it on your bookshelf or in your drawer. After you've used it, evangelize, share it, give it to somebody else. You got it for free, give it to someone else for free. Let them use it, pass it on so that they can receive some teaching from the gospel. All right, one last thing, and that is, of course, my preaching ministry here at Choctaw. As you know, I preach here 3 Sunday nights and 1 Sunday morning per month, aside from teaching the adult Bible classes on Wednesday and Sunday. Of course, Marty is our official pulpit minister, but he has allowed me to assist him in this work, and he's also made room for Mike Coghill to preach from time to time as well. I just want to say as I close out, it's very rare that a pulpit can be serviced by 2 ministers, let alone 3 ministers. However, I do credit the smooth operation and the benefits that come with this arrangement. All the credit goes to Marty and his humble servant heart attitude, without which this would be impossible to pull off. So Marty, kudos to you, brother. I love you, you do a great job, and I do appreciate you sharing your pulpit with me. Because of him, Paul's teaching in 1 Corinthians chapter 14, verse 29 that says, "Let 2 or 3 prophets speak, and let the others pass judgment." Because of Marty, this scripture is a reality to the benefit and to the edification of the congregation here in Choctaw. Well, that's a brief review of some of the activities and plans for my area of ministry for 2014, and of course some of the ideas that we're going to try to put into practice for 2015. So thank you very much, everyone. Thank you for the support that you give all the ministers, the deacons, the elders here in the congregation. I pray that we have a great 2015, do greater things in the name of the Lord from the Choctaw congregation. All right, well, I turn it back to you, Harold, and continue our budget report for 2015.
All right, well, now we'll transition. I remembered well. And so now we'll transition to the youth ministry. Mike was video. I wrote all my notes on paper, and so leave it to the youth ministry guy to be all high-tech and use pen and paper, right? Well, I just first wanted to say, Jessica and I, we've really enjoyed our time here so far. We appreciate you all welcoming us, and we were talking just on Saturday, just how welcoming everyone is, and we really enjoy the people here at Choctaw. And, surprisingly, everyone's been very kind to us, and so that was a joke. Thank you. And so, but in all seriousness, we're really excited to be here. We've enjoyed it so much. We're excited for the future, which we'll talk about here in a second, goals for 2015. But we've also really enjoyed the kids. All the kids we've really enjoyed having in class, and I really do mean that. And so all the kids are great. They're really excited and passionate about the youth program. And so, let's see if I can figure this out. All right. So what is youth ministry? Well, when you look at that, if you think of youth ministry, hopefully you don't think of that third picture where the kids are like attacking the teacher, wrapping them up. But maybe you think maybe your idea of youth ministry is on the right, where everyone's like real quiet. They got their Bibles open or they're praying together. Like good little angels they are. And so it's probably realistically somewhere in the middle. There are moments, I promise, where they are good angels, and they're very calm. But we do have some fun every now and then with youth ministry. Luckily, they haven't tied me up. I don't go home looking like that after a day here. But it is somewhere in the middle, kind of youth ministry. That's kind of what you get. You get some serious moments, but then you get some wild moments. But that's what I love about it. That's why I love youth ministry. Is there's moments where you just don't know what you're going to walk into. But there's moments where they ask you questions. Just right before service, one of the girls in the youth ministry came up and she had this amazing, thought-provoking question about class. And, she shares that with me. And, it's just those moments that you're like, wow, they're actually listening in class and they're growing. And you can see them grow in their faith. And so that's kind of how I view youth ministry, and it's really great. Some things we've done so far. Dinner and devos. We've had a couple dinner and devos. That's basically members of their home, or members open up their home. We go share a meal, have a devotional. It's a time of hanging out. That's two pictures from our most recent dinner and devo at the Erskines. You have some girls there eating, and then Kim Wall gave the devo. And one thing I like about dinner and devos, if the hosts are willing to give the devo themselves, that's great, because the kids hear from me a lot in class. And so it's a great opportunity for them to hear from other adults and also, their parents, and which is great. We do gathering at our place, which is once a month. We have the high schoolers over to Jessica and I's house, and it's just a time to hang out. They kind of get to see us in our everyday life and build relationships that way. Brown Bag Christmas, the youth group, I don't know if everyone knows this, but the youth group right now is raising money, and they are going to buy groceries for the brown bag. So 1 or 2 bags will be from the youth group, from the teens raising their own money. And so we're doing that. The food pantry scavenger hunt, which is the picture on the left there. Some of you all opened your homes and they came, took some funny pictures. No school lunch, that's just kids come up here, they hang out, they cause panic throughout the building. Corn maze, took them out to the corn maze, and so that's just some activities we've done. There's kind of a mix of, fun not fun, kind of hanging out, and then the Bible or, growing spiritual. And so, that's kind of, as Harold was talking about, the pillars, you got the fellowship, but then you have the teaching and service and all these different areas, you kind of incorporate them into the youth ministry through different activities that way. Activities for 2015. So kind of some activities we're looking at doing this year. Winterfest. If you don't know, Winterfest is a Church of Christ youth conference. It takes place in Arlington and also Gatlinburg. And so we'll be going down to Arlington in January. We'll be taking our high school group. And this is with about 6,000 other Church of Christ teenagers coming together. And so we'll be going to that this year. Epic, which is similar to LTC or Lads to Leaders. And so that's put on at Central Church of Christ down in Moore. So we'll be participating in that again this year. We do have plans to do a fall retreat this year with the youth group, going out for a weekend, having a theme for the retreat and devotionals and whatnot. And so that'll be in the fall of 2015. Also, camps for 2015. Again, Burnt Cabin Christian Camp. That's the one we go to. We've gone to for many years, it sounds like. And so we'll be going to that again. That'll be in June. And then also we have plans to go to Wichita Work Camp in Wichita, Kansas. And what that is they'll be going around, they'll divide up. It's with about 400 or 500 other teens from Oklahoma, Texas, Colorado, Kansas, Missouri. They all come to Wichita and they go out and paint houses for people. And so it's just an opportunity for them to serve those who are in need and show the love of Christ to other people. And so the plan is to go up to Wichita. That's also in June, and go to work camp. And so it's just one of those opportunities to teach kids about service and showing love to your neighbor. Goals for 2015. And so basically the goals for 2015, they kind of summarized into it's one youth group and one church. And so one youth group is this idea of establishing unity, recognizing that you might be a sophomore or junior at Choctaw, but you are still part of the youth group, just as the 6th or 7th grader that's also goes to Choctaw, or the 6th and 7th grader that goes to Midwest City Public Schools. You are all part of the youth group, and so it's forming this group unity. And so one thing, we had Hal design this logo for the youth group, and so you've probably seen it around in the bulletin or other ways. So Hal Gatewood designed that logo for us just to kind of establish group unity. Another thing that we'll be doing kind of goes along with this is S3, which is kind of the room next to the studio. It's kind of in the corner there. That has kind of basically been established as the youth room. And so this year in 2015, the plan is kind of add some paint to that room, kind of give the youth group or the teens their own space to kind of define this as the youth room and kind of establish that group unity that way to get them all connected to one another. And then the second goal is this idea of one church. And it's this idea that there's the youth ministry, but they're not their own separate little church. They're not their own little group that they only hang out with, but instead they're part of the church here at Choctaw as a whole. And so it's, they'll have moments, where they do dinner and Devo. That's pretty much a teen activity. But there's still times, where they're here as a church with all of us. And that's one thing also I enjoy about youth ministry is this idea of, if you do a service project, a church-wide service project, you have multiple generations coming together and working on one project together. And so you have the 60, 50-year-old showing the 15-year-old, how to use a hammer or how to use a screwdriver or how to sew something. And so it's this multi-generational coming together, and that's really what I think the church is. I lost the PowerPoint. Okay, let's see if that works. Okay, and so recognize, like I said, that the youth ministry is part of the church. They're not their own separate entity or separate body. And then also increase volunteers. Like I said, youth ministry requires volunteers. It can't just be me and Jessica showing up. And so that's, getting the parents involved. But it's also getting all of you involved. And so even if you're a parent of, an elementary kid, or you don't have kids, or if your kids are grown, we can still use you as a volunteer. And so I just want to encourage all of you, there is some way that I can find you to be involved in the youth ministry. And so if you're like, Mike, I don't know what I can do, but use me however, I'll say, great, sit in on a class with us. Or, why don't you come with us to this activity and just be a chaperone, be an extra set of eyes or extra set of ears, and build relationships. And that's really what youth ministry, in my opinion, is all about. Them building relationships with one another, but them also building relationships with the church as a whole and strengthening those relationships. And so, like I said, those are some of the goals for 2015 that we're going to try to accomplishing this through different activities, increasing volunteers, recognizing that they're a group, they're one youth group, but then they're also part of the one church. That's all I had. But I do want to say thank you to all of you all. Jessica and I have greatly enjoyed our time here, and we're enjoying getting to meet everybody. I'm sorry, we're still learning some names, but we're getting there. But we are enjoying it, and we just want to extend a thank you. I know with Choctaw not having a youth minister in a while, you all took a risk, took a leap of faith, and we appreciate that, and we're enjoying it very much. So thank you. Now we'll hear from Steve Harrison.
I guess they saved me to last because I was the longest. Probably should have. IBC, Harold mentioned IBC, stands for International Bible Correspondence. Robert George ran that for 22 years. Why we switched to the World Bible Schools, because IBC shut down. The man that was running it in California retired, and he didn't have anywhere else to go. And the names that Robert was getting over the last couple of years, they were from World Bible School. And so, since we were getting their names, we just switched over. Besides, I had done that many years ago when I was in Winslow. But Robert and Viola had done that for 22 years, and they established a nice support system for their funding, for their Bibles and supporting of the people that were working with them, which were quite a few. And we've continued that to some. We're using that fund today. We were able not to have you or Choctaw funds support World Bible School. We might if we run out in a couple of years, but right now the home congregation is not supporting World Bible School, but we do need support. We'll find out about that. Let's see here. Well, that's already up there, right? Yeah, okay. Well, you can see from this that why we listed on the monthly report introduction lessons, because I don't consider a person a student of World Bible School if they're not a student. Or in other words, somebody turned in their name, or they sent a name to us saying, I'd like to look at your literature. Well, they're not a student. So we sent out 1,778 intro lessons. They were requests, but they're not students yet. Once they send that introduction lesson back to us, we then put their name in the roll book, and they have become a student. And so lessons sent to students, 911 lessons, they've already filled out an introduction lesson. They've done it, its mail's gone back and forth, and now they're a student. Bibles, much less than Robert, 30 this year, individual requests, but baptisms, 32. Known, and there were more than that before I started keeping correct statistics on that. And the reason for the Bibles is World Bible School has told us that Nigeria, unfortunately, and is one of our big areas that we send lessons to. We send lessons to Kenya now. We took on Kenya, and we have been sending lessons out to Kenya and Ghana, of course. But Nigeria, their mail system, they take mail and they'll sell it. And so World Bible School told us that it's not a good idea to send lots of Bibles through the mail. They'll just be taken. And so since they're over there and things, we're not doing it that way as much. We still get requests and we go ahead and send them. But now with Nigeria, what we were suggested to do was to send our worker in that area $100. And he can use that to buy about 25, 30 Bibles, and then he will deliver them he'll know that the person wants them, and he'll deliver it by hand to them. We'll know that they got it and that they're interested in it, and he'll know who they are for follow-up and things like that. Here's pretty much where a lot of our money goes. Postage is simply from Choctaw, right here, to Cedar Park, Texas. That's why it's only $300. That's what it takes to get all of our material to Cedar Park. Third world countries have a hard time coming up with the money. That's why Alpha Mailing, that's a Christian mailing company down at Cedar Park, Texas, we have tried to help people learn about God and not have money as a problem. So World Bible School worked it out. So there's a center in each country, Nigeria or Ghana or whatever, and if a student is sending a lesson back, all he has to get is postage from his village to this one town. From there, Choctaw pays for it. So that's why that is so expensive, because that's from mailing from Texas to Ghana, Nigeria, and Kenya. And then we pay for the postage back to Texas and then up to Choctaw. That way, a student or somebody that doesn't have hardly any money, all they've got to do is get enough postage to get it to the next village maybe, and then we pay for it. Office supplies had to buy, label makers, things like that. Lessons, $1,600. That's what the lessons at cost that we buy from World Bible School. Missionary support, I'll explain that in a minute. And vehicles, Robert, and you'll see that too, Robert bought a vehicle for one of his, these ministers are not graduated ministers, they're lay people like you and me that are volunteering to help World Bible School and to do teaching, and they do teaching and preaching. So they're ministers, they're preachers too. Well, these countries are large and it's hard to get around. They don't have transportation system. So Robert bought a car. They paid for it and bought this Amos a car. He's been using it for several years. This year we bought a couple of motorcycles for them to get around on, to get to different villages. World Bible School, we've worked 327 hours in the classroom filling out lessons. Here's the people that we help. They feed World Bible School. They are sending us names all the time in packages from them. They've gone out and gathered names, and they send the names to us, and we do the lessons and send them back to them, and they go deliver them. And now they'll be delivering Bibles instead of through the mail. It varies. Now, Sylvester down here at the bottom, all of these names I have verified through Doug Wheeler. Doug Wheeler is a man at Westside Congregation, helps me a great deal. He goes to Nigeria every year, have been gone there for several years. He has usually goes for 2 months but because of the problems in Nigeria, his elders asked him to go for 30 days this year. But he goes there, and I ask him about these men. He knows them by name. He knows their families. And he'll say, well, this one, McKindy, he uses all that money, that isn't a great deal of money, for postage mainly, to get stuff and help him out. And the two that really feed us a lot are Matthias and Amos. Those are the ones we have bought vehicles for. Sylvester, Doug Wheeler says he's the most influential man in Nigeria. He does the preaching school there over that and everything. He's written books. So we give him $100 a quarter. And so that's $2,800 a year. And the fund will be gone in a couple, 3 years, and then maybe, what people contribute to World Bible School, the box out there, we might only be able to do postage and not help these guys. I don't know. But as long as we have fun, we're going to help them. This is Amos. This is his car. Oh, and this year, in December, this month, we sent $1,000 because he kept writing me that his car is on the side of the road and they're going to have to pull it in with an ox or something. And it doesn't, his words, it doesn't speed the highways anymore. And so he asked for a new motor. The $1,000 will do a new motor and some body work. This is, well, you can read it. Yep. This is the other brother that we have over there, Matthias. He's crippled. I have dozens and dozens of pictures that I could have thrown up there. But I have two invitations. That's what we do at World Bible School. We work on Wednesday nights. Most of us have sat in classes all of our life and learned and learned and learned. This is a place where you can fulfill God's great commission, go and teach. And so the ones that have been working there, they come and they spend the hour working and sending out lessons and fulfilling what God said to do, go and teach. And they are. If you're not in a ministry, you're not doing something, my plea is just to get involved with World Bible School. It's an easy place to do it because you have friends sitting right next to you and you're filling out lessons. Nothing is on the spur of the moment. You can think about it. You can go talk to people about it. But basically the lessons are just you check them off and answer the questions. Support, as I have said, because of the work of the Georges, they had a fund built up and we've been using it. And this year we had some anonymous donor gave us 4 money orders. They didn't want us to know who gave it, so they filled out money orders. But that shot us through this year. And very generous. I don't know who they are, but I sure thank them a lot. If tax return or if you found yourself that you can only help $20, $25 a month, I'd appreciate it. World Bible School would. We have a box back there, and that'll keep us going. So that the church funds are not stretched too thin here at Choctaw. And I don't want anybody to withhold giving someplace and start World Bible School. Whatever you're doing, keep on doing it. I'm just making a request that if you've come upon a blessing that you hadn't counted on or something like that, then remember World Bible School. We do a lot of good work. God's message has gone out many times. Thank you.
I'd like to summarize quickly, if I could, about what our budget requirement or request would be for next year. We divide it by ministries, and for education, we have teaching materials and teaching supplies, and for Mike Coghill and the youth ministry, $9,300 in that ministry. For evangelism, $2,500 for local work. Bible talk, $12,000, and these are per year too, by the way. And for international work, that would be Jeffrey Karima and John Terrard Elmira and Doug Wheeler in Norman. And so that's $28,000 there. For fellowship, we have special events, and there's a number of things go in that. Most of these are usually kind of self-sustaining, but there are times when we need to help as well. So that's $4,650 in the fellowship area. Service administration is another division that we have, and there's an office supply. Utilities are the big one in this usually, and insurance is pretty big, and printing and copiers is pretty big. $66,000 in that ministry. For salaries and the Social Security Medicare payments that we make, total is $286,655. That's for Michael Mazzalongo, Marty Kessler, Michael Coghill, Celestia Bennett, Sarah Kerwanik, Gail Morgan, custodian. That's everybody that's on our staff. And that's the total that we'd end up paying in that percentage of the whole project. Some for benevolence, we have $14,000 set aside for benevolence. That's usually pretty big. And you say that, well, that sounds like quite a lot, but that's pretty big. And the Church of Christ Disaster Relief Fund used to be in the past, we try to help disasters here and there and wherever. We found out that this Church of Christ Disaster Relief Fund is really effective in going where the needs are. You recall when we had the ice damage here, they had 2 semi-trailer trucks brought stuff here to us. $17,150. Groundskeeping, replacement of air conditioners, heat, maybe the biggest in that, and that would be only if we have to have that. $17,100. We had some projects we'd like to try to do, parking lot repair and some bathroom renovation and maybe some fans in this ceiling, $23,000. So if I start subtotaling up that for maintenance, $89,100. For worship, it's about $2,600. We don't spend a lot in that, but we need things like communion supplies and batteries and microphones and that sort of thing. Now, if I start summarizing these all together for education, evangelism, fellowship, service administration, there's $108,000 on those four. Let me move to the next one. $395,000 on the next four, and we get down to the final total per year is $503,905. That's pretty substantial, I know. Look what that comes to. That comes to $9,690 per week. Well, so we know, that's a pretty big challenge. We're not sure we can handle that, but we don't know. Lord may just direct our thinking, and we might be able to do that very well. So anyhow, that's our goal for this coming year. That's our target. A couple things I'd like to make mention to you when we start thinking about giving. Let me think about what Jesus taught. He says, "Give and it will be given to you, good measure, pressed down, shaken together, running over, so that they will pour into your laps. For by your standard of measure, it will be measured to you in return." Jesus taught that. In 2 Corinthians, Paul said, "Now I say this, that he who sows sparingly shall also reap sparingly. He who sows bountifully shall also reap bountifully. Let each one do just as he's purposed in his heart, not grudgingly or under compulsion, for God loves a cheerful giver. And God is able to make all grace abound to you, that in all, having all sufficiency in everything, you may have abundance for every good deed." So the Scriptures promise if we give and give liberally, the Lord will take care of us and do that the best for us. So I believe that's really true. I accept that as complete truth. So I'd like to say that kind of wraps up our summary on this budget presentation today. It actually went a little longer than I thought it would, but then You know, you never know for sure. But I'd like to also extend to you an invitation. If you're here and you did not have the opportunity to become a Christian, you don't know what that takes. It takes faith in Jesus Christ, it takes confession of your sins, repentance of your sins, confession that Jesus is the Christ, the Son of God. Be willing to be baptized to wash away your sins. And the Scriptures would teach, he that believes and is baptized shall be saved. So I'd like to ask you to stand, please, at this time. If you have a need to respond to the invitation, we'd like to try to help you if we could.